You've been told that you can't break your bad habits because you lack willpower, that you're lazy, that you just don't want it enough. That is a lie. Your brain isn't broken, it's just operating in a poorly designed system. The average human makes roughly 35,000 conscious decisions every single day. By 6 p.m., your biological willpower battery is physically empty. You aren't choosing to scroll for hours. You're experiencing a system error. In the next 5 minutes, I'm going to show you why a Japanese car factory's architecture is more effective for your brain than any self-help book you've ever read. We're moving past motivation and into the engineering of the self. Chapter 1: The Art of Muda Hunting. If we're going to build a system that doesn't rely on willpower, we have to start with a diagnosis. In the 1950s, Toyota engineers identified the secret enemy of productivity. They called it Muda. The definition: Muda literally means waste, but not just trash in a bin. It refers to any activity, movement, or process that consumes your energy but gives you zero value in return. In a factory, it's a machine running for no reason. In your life, a bad habit is a leak in your biological system. The different perspective. Most people look at a bad habit like scrolling on TikTok or eating late at night as a temptation. A Japanese engineer looks at it as frictional waste. Think about it. Why do you scroll? It's usually because your phone is the closest thing to your hand when you feel a micro moment of boredom. That's not a lack of character. That's a pathway of least resistance. Your environment has been designed by app developers to make the bad habit the easiest possible thing to do. You aren't failing, you're just following the architecture. To break the habit, you have to become a Muda hunter. You need to find where the friction is missing. There's a powerful psychological principle called the 20-second rule. Research shows that if you can make a bad habit just 20 seconds harder to start, literally just 20 seconds, your brain's laziness actually becomes your best friend. If your phone is in a timed locker in the other room, the Muda, the effort required to go get it, is now higher than the reward of scrolling. Suddenly, the system is working for you. You haven't changed your personality, you've just re-engineered the friction. Muda hunting isn't about being perfect. It's about looking at your desk, your kitchen, and your bedside table and asking, where is the leak? If you spend 30 minutes every morning looking for your keys, that is Muda. That is 30 minutes of willpower burned before your day even starts. In a Japanese workshop, a master craftsman, a shokunin, will spend hours organizing their tools so that they never have to think about where they are. They protect their focus like it's a physical resource, because it is. Chapter 2: The 5S Framework: Re-engineering your daily path. Once you've hunted the Muda, you're left with a clean slate. But a clean slate is dangerous because it's a vacuum that your old habits will try to fill. To prevent that, we use the 5S framework. This isn't just about cleaning your room, it's about cognitive housekeeping. Step 1: Seiri, sort. The trigger audit. The first step is Seiri. In a factory, this means keeping only the essential tools on the floor. In your life, this means a ruthless audit of your visual decoys. If you want to stop mindlessly checking your phone, the phone cannot live on your desk. You aren't quitting the phone. You are sorting the environment so that only the tools for your current task are visible. If it doesn't serve your way, it leaves the room. Period. Step 2: Sighten, set in order. This is the art of visual anchoring. In a Toyota plant, every wrench has a shadow painted on the wall where it belongs. You need to create shadows for your good habits. Here is an insider secret. There is a psychological effect called visual cueing. If you place your running shoes on top of your laptop at night, your brain doesn't have to decide to run in the morning. The set in order system has already made the decision for you. You are outsourcing your willpower to the physical layout of your home. Step 3. Seizo, shine. Don't mistake this for a Sunday chore. In Japan, cleaning is an act of restoring the spirit of the space. The data is clear. A study from the University of Arizona found that physical clutter creates visual noise that keeps your brain in a state of low-level stress. This constant background noise drains your willpower battery before you even start your day. Seizo is your daily 5-minute reset. By shining your workspace at the end of the night, you are literally recharging your brain's capacity for discipline tomorrow. Step 4. Seiketsu, standardize, creating your SOP. In a factory, they don't hope the floor stays clean. They create a standard operating procedure, SOP. You need an SOP for your triggers. Try this. Stop saying, "I'll try to meditate." Create a standard. When I sit in my blue chair, I breathe for 60 seconds. By standardizing the location and the time, you remove the choice. And when you remove the choice, you remove the possibility of failure. Step 5. Shitsuki, sustain. In the Japanese context, it means self-discipline through the system. Most people try to start with shitsuke. They try to be disciplined first. But the Japanese secret is that discipline is the result of the first 4 steps, not the cause. If you have sorted, set in order, shined and standardized, sustaining the habit isn't a struggle. It's just the way the factory runs. You've moved from being a person who struggles to a person who operates. Before we move on, here's something most people miss. Research shows you are 3 times more likely to stick to a 5S reset if you start on a Monday or the 1st of the month. Your brain treats these dates like a new factory opening. It's called the fresh start effect, and it's the perfect time to run your first Seiri audit. Chapter 3. The contextual bridge, the neuroscience of the factory floor. By now, you might be asking, why does a car factory's system actually work for a human brain? To understand that, we have to look under the hood. We have to look at the neuroscience of Muda. The background app analogy. Think of your brain like a high-performance computer. Your prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain that handles logic, long-term goals, and discipline, is like the processor. It has a limited amount of RAM or active memory. In a standard, unorganized life, your brain is running dozens of background apps. Every notification on your screen, every pile of unsorted mail on your counter, every dirty dish in the sink. These are what neuroscientists call competitive signals. Even if you aren't consciously looking at them, your visual cortex is processing them. This creates a parasitic drain on your glucose levels. You are burning your willpower fuel just by existing in a cluttered space. The dopamine baseline, but it goes deeper. When you operate in a state of Muda, waste, your brain is in a state of low-level chronic stress. This raises your cortisol levels, and when cortisol is high, your dopamine baseline drops. When your baseline dopamine is low, your brain starts hunting for a quick spike to feel normal again. This is exactly when you reach for the cigarette, the sugar, or the infinite scroll. Your bad habits aren't a sign of a weak heart. They're a sign of an exhausted processor. You are seeking a system reboot through cheap dopamine because your environment is draining your battery. The Zanshin state. When you apply the 5S system, when you sort and shine, you aren't just being neat. You are clearing the RAM. You are shutting down the background apps. In Japan, martial artists strive for a state called Zanshin. It translates to relaxed awareness, or the mind with no remainder. It's the state of being completely present because there is no mental clutter left over. By engineering your environment, you allow your brain to enter a Zanshin state. In this state, you don't need willpower to resist a bad habit because the urge never triggers. Your processor is finally free to focus on what actually matters. Here is a high-value takeaway you can use tonight. Research shows that a 10-minute digital 5S, closing your tabs and putting your phone in another room before bed, can increase your deep sleep (REM) quality by up to 20%. By clearing the Muda before sleep, you allow your brain to start the next day with a fully charged battery. You're literally building discipline while you sleep. Chapter 4. Ma. The architecture of the void, the pattern interrupt, the hook of the segment. We've optimized your desk, we've cleared your RAM, but there is one final piece of the puzzle. It's the reason most people fail even with a perfect system. It's a concept that doesn't exist in Western productivity, and it's called Ma, the deep concept. Ma literally translates to the space between. In Japanese art, it's the white space on a canvas that makes the painting visible. In music, it's the silence between notes that creates the rhythm. Without Ma, music is just noise. Without Ma, your life is just a series of reactive explosions. The collapsed gap analogy. Think about your worst habit. When you feel stressed, you reach for a cigarette. When you're bored, you open Instagram. In your brain, the stimulus, the boredom, and the response, the scroll, have physically collapsed into each other. There is zero space. You have become a biological machine. Input, output. No choice, just reaction. To break any habit, you don't need to delete the response. You need to restore the Ma. You need to reinsert a gap between the trigger and the action. You have to build a buffer zone in your own mind. The samurai technique, the 60-second pause. In the West, we're taught to use force. We try to say no to our urges. But no is a high-energy, high-stress decision. It drains your willpower battery instantly. The Japanese approach is different. It's the way of the samurai, relaxed readiness. Instead of saying no, you simply say, I will do it, but I will wait 60 seconds. During that 60 seconds of Ma, you aren't fighting. You are simply observing. You are allowing your prefrontal cortex, that logical processor we talked about, to boot up and take the wheel back from your animal instincts. You are moving the decision from the basal ganglia, the habit center, to the frontal lobe, the choice center. In that 1 minute of silence, you transition from being a reactive animal to becoming a conscious architect. But here is the secret that will change how you see your cravings forever. Neuroanatomist Dr. Jill Bolte Taylor discovered that the chemical life of an emotion or an urge only lasts for about 90 seconds. When you feel a craving, it's like a wave in the ocean. It rises, it peaks, and then it must dissipate. If you can create a Ma of just 90 seconds, the chemical signal in your brain will actually die out on its own. You don't have to kill the craving, you just have to outlast the wave. The gap isn't just empty space, it's your fortress. Chapter 5. The Architect's Challenge. Most people will finish this video, find it interesting, and then go right back to their old, Muda-filled environment. They'll wait for motivation to strike. But motivation is a feeling, architecture is a fact. If you have failed at your habits in the past, I want you to look at those failures through the lens of kintsugi. In Japan, they don't throw away broken pottery. They repair the cracks with gold. They believe the piece is more beautiful and stronger for having been broken. If you broke your habit today, don't hide it in shame. Perform a hansei, an honest autopsy. Ask yourself, where did the system fail? Which of the 5S steps did I ignore? That failure isn't a dead end. It's the exact place where you need to pour the gold of a better design. So here is your mission, your first act as an architect. I'm not asking you to change your life today. I'm asking you to move one object. Identify one Muda trigger in your room right now. The phone charger by the bed, the junk food on the counter, the remote on the couch, and move it. Don't think. Don't wait for the right feeling. Just change the architecture. Because you are no longer a victim of your habits. You are the engineer of your path.